We're so pleased to have with us today Ariane Gorin, President of Expedia for Business at Expedia Group. Welcome, Ariane.
Thank you, Lorraine. It's very nice to be with you.
So hopefully you and Expedia have a little bit of a sigh of relief as we're starting to see recovery in certain parts of the world. So how are you feeling, and are you feeling optimistic?
Yes, feeling very optimistic. I think, all through the, I would say the toughest times of COVID, I think many of us in the industry were saying, when people are able to travel again, there's going to be this great pent up demand to do so. And that's what we're all seeing. So it's exciting. I mean, it's different in different parts of the world. And certainly, there were challenges as travel was going down. Now there are also some challenges as it comes racing back in some places. But, I feel very optimistic about travel because I think we're all seeing it is coming back, and both in leisure and in business, because I believe that, people want to do business with people, and face-to-face interaction is key. So even if business travel is far behind leisure, it's going to come back as well.
Absolutely. So Expedia wasn't exactly twiddling its thumbs, right, during the pandemic. So quite a few things happened. So you had a reorganization, sold Egencia, kind of really expanded Vrbo. Your title changed. So, I mean, is this about a leaner Expedia or about a more focused Expedia?
Well, what I would say is, first, we had already started doing work to simplify the company before COVID-19 hit. So you might recall, sort of at the end of 2019, we were actually pretty public about the work we were doing to simplify the company, and it has accelerated during sort of, I would say, the last year. You referenced the offer that we have from American Express Global Business Travel for Egencia, which is still it's subject to regulatory approval, employee council approval, but we think that could create an enormous amount of value, and we would be excited for that. So there's
Expedia would be sourcing the hotel.
We would continue to power
American Express. So that's
exactly.
great.
We continue to power American Express. We would be a shareholder in the joint entity. So we think that could really create a lot of value. And the deal was about, how do you set up the business to be as successful as possible? As you said, Vrbo, I think we've been public about how successful Vrbo has been. And then, yes, most recently, we did make a change in the company. So as you said, my title has changed. I now run Expedia for Business. And what we've done is we've actually brought together all of the B2B organizations within the company. So previously, I had run part of the business other than Egencia, which was Expedia Partner Solutions, where we power other online travel agents, corporate travel agencies, offline travel agents with I would say, the capabilities of Expedia Group. And we've brought that together with our travel partner group, which was where all of the relationships with our suppliers were. And in fact, many of those supply partners were also EPS partners. And the vision really is that all of these businesses that we do business with can be more successful working with us, whether it's distributing on our platform, whether it's extending their advertising reach on our platform, whether it's providing additional services and products to their travelers on their sites through us, whether it's over time tech capabilities that we would bring to market. And so we just thought that by putting all of those groups together and having really a 360-degree view of the relationships with businesses, we at Expedia Group would be able to bring more value to our partners.
Okay. So what exactly are your partners looking to you for? You mentioned advertising and exposure and of course distribution, but during the pandemic with hotels and something like 10% occupancy, were they kind of like help me? What were you hearing? And kind of going forward, what do you think like the top 3 things are that you can do for these partners?
Yeah, I think first is, help us just with information of what are you seeing. So it's not just what are you seeing in demand patterns, And partners want to know that so that they can make sure that they're taking advantage and in their response to whatever opportunity there is out there. Because often partners will just have the lens of what they're seeing, so they want to get a perspective of what else is going on. So we released a new product in Rev Plus for our hotel partners to give them insights into what's going on in their market and also a forward-looking view. And we've done that across a bunch of our businesses. So I would say sort of number one thing is just give me information so I understand how does my performance stack up and what can I do differently? How are travelers' behaviors changing? What is it that they want? But the other thing, which everybody has always wanted and will always want, is demand, right? It's help us bring back demand. So we put $25 million in campaigns with destinations to help them bring back travelers. We worked with the tourism board in Hungary to reposition Budapest to be more of a city break destination. We worked with Idaho to bring travelers back. So I would say there's a lot at the destination level about bringing back demand, and the supply partners on bringing back demand. And of course, we all know that yes, there's still demand coming direct, but there's still a lot of incrementality coming from Expedia Group and from others in the market. And so it's really about how do we bring that demand back and bring travelers back, which means flexibility. It means up-to-date information. We've done a lot of work on our sites on making sure that most of our rates are flexible. We launched something called the COVID-19 Travel Advisor with Sherpa. And we've had 1.6 million travelers that have looked at it because, of course, travelers, before they travel, they want the latest information. So partners want demand, and we're doing all the work we can on our sites in order to give travelers confidence to start traveling again.
So I'm interested because with, the agencia, when that is sold, we still have a business travel industry that, could be 20, 30, 40%, right, of all global travel. And it does have specific needs. So how would you be approaching that marketplace going forward?
Yeah. So yes, as you say, sort of business travel is coming back, and it is a market that has some specific needs. So we at Expedia Group, we will continue to power the combined entity if the transaction goes through. Already through Expedia Partner Solutions, we work with a lot of travel management companies, from the startups to the bigger ones. And so we're already bringing a bunch of that demand to our lodging partners. And of course, on our leisure sites, there are a lot of unmanaged business travelers that are booking on leisure sites. I was looking at some data a couple of days ago, publicly available data, that was just showing the size of unmanaged business travel.
How do you identify that?
I mean, it was a public, I can't remember what the source was, but it was, the unmanaged business travel market is still massive compared to managed business travel, which is why, of course, if you're in managed business travel, you're sort of looking at how can I bring some of that unmanaged into the managed space, because it's more important, the duty of care and, companies understanding where their travelers are going, but there's still a lot in that unmanaged bucket. So what I would say is, what we do is we work with our supply partners, making sure they understand what demand are we bringing and what is it that those travelers are looking for.
Yeah, we used to always say that was like herding cats, the unmanaged business market, so fragmented.
Yes, it's fragmented, but big opportunity.
Okay, so we have Expedia kind of 5 units now to 4, and is being kind of leaner and more nimble something that's really important to the business?
I would say what's important to us is to go fast, is to get rid of complexity, because sometimes as you become a big global company, you can have complexity that creeps into the business. So, it is important to us to, keep our eye on what is it that travelers want, what is it that our supply partners want, and help our teams and our employees get things done faster and simplify things for them. And if it means being a leaner organization, then that's what it means. I would say, though, that a month ago when we made the announcements, we brought in 2 new leaders to Expedia Group. So John Gieselman, who is running our brands, who's an amazing leader, an amazing marketing leader, and then Rathi, who is our CTO, who's a fantastic technical leader. Well, a fantastic leader, but also with deep technical.
And from outside travel, correct?
From outside travel, and I think that's it's really about bringing in deep functional expertise and great leadership to help our business move forward.
Okay. So Expedia is really we'd say one of the largest, but probably the largest travel platform. I know I look at, Analyst always looking at gross bookings, and with Booking and Expedia is always so neck and neck. But then we have C-Trip, right? We have, it's interesting. I session yesterday with the hoteliers, they're like, oh no, we're friends with OTAs. We're more worried about what's going to happen with Amazon. And of course, continue concern about Google. So what is the future of all these kind of travel platforms? And first of all, what is a travel platform in your definition? Because we're not a travel agency anymore. Now we're a platform. So I'd love to know, what is that thinking?
Well, what I would say, when I think about what we are as a travel platform is, we have, on the one side, we have supply partners who are distributing sort of through our platform. On the other side, we've got travelers. And in the middle, you have our brands and our platform, knowing that we're also powering a lot of other brands. So I would really think of us as kind of a travel ecosystem where travelers can come, get all the information they might need, do all of the inspiration, they can book, they can self-service manage their bookings, they can have something that's accompanying them during their trip, and they can have confidence to book. And then you have all of the suppliers who can also sort of exist in this ecosystem to extend their reach. You have destinations who also obviously play in this. So I would call it more, yes, we call ourselves a platform, but it's also an ecosystem. And, your question about, the age-old question of our hotels worried about OTAs, or they're worried about Amazon, or, I just think there's a role for all of us to play. And if each of us focuses on what is the value that we bring, I always think when I talk to supply partners, what is the incremental value that we are bringing to you, the incremental traveler? Or what is maybe travelers are loyal to one of our Expedia brands because of our loyalty program or because of the experience they get with our virtual agent. And so if a hotel is not, being displayed on our sites, well, then they're missing out on that traveler. I remember 6 years ago talking to a hotel partner about package rates and why were they I said, well, why are you interested in providing us package rates? It was a very innocent question. And he said, because Ariane, travelers will come and they want to buy a package on Expedia, and I'm going to miss out if I'm not doing that. And so I think in this whole world of our travel ecosystem, we all have to just make sure that we're playing a role that is bringing value.
Right. Now, it's interesting you mentioned that in packages, because obviously that's one thing, if you're going direct to an airline, direct to hotel, a lot more difficult to do. And that's always been that value that, of going to a platform like Expedia is that cross-selling that you can do. So is it?
But Lorraine, sorry, I would just add, we work with some airlines or some hotel partners to actually power package on their site as well.
Sure,
so it doesn't just, I think that everybody has their role to play.
That's true. That's true. Tell me a little bit more about that business, because the whole idea of a private label or whatever you want to call it. It is a huge business for Expedia, but like you said, it's more suppliers and other businesses that are looking to sell travel as part of their offering. So how is that?
It's not just the supply partners. We power a lot of. We have a big partnership with an online travel agent in Indonesia. And they are the biggest local online travel agent there. And yes, we have our own brands, but we will power them. And again, I think that they may have a different approach to that market than our brands or other brands would. And again, I think what's amazing about the travel industry is we are such a big industry. And nobody is going to take all of the demand in it. And so we should all be looking at how is it that we can play. And going back to your question about platforms, one of the things that excites me a lot is not only what value can we bring to travelers on our platform, but also what additional value can we bring to partners on the platform. And again, whether it's demand, whether it's advertising, or whether it's looking at capabilities that we use for our own brands and bringing those to partners, because ultimately that will bring a better traveler experience.
So that takes me to our final question. What is the sequel for Expedia? What is the sequel for what are your partners need from Expedia next?
What is the sequel? Well, 25 years ago, we were founded, to bring travel online. I think what is next is continued value, obviously, for the traveler, self-service, confidence, efficiency. And for partners, it's, as I sort of have said a couple of times, it's helping them in the areas that they need help, which is probably beyond distribution. We've had some really interesting conversations lately with a couple of big partners about how they're running their call centers and their customer support. And they're saying, actually, Expedia, you're doing that at scale. Is there anything you can help us with there? Can we have envisioning sessions together? So I think it's more unlocking things like that we will discover over time. That the pandemic forced many companies, especially in travel, to really look at what are the things that I need to do that are going to differentiate me, and where are there areas that I can just partner with someone. So I would say I think from those conversations, we'll start to see more products and services that I think will come for partners on the platform.
Great. So moving Expedia forward. Thank you, Ariane.
Moving us all forward. Thank you, Lorraine.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to see you. Thanks again.